People have asked me a lot of questions about apps that I use in different videos that I make. There are a lot of apps out there in construction that are extremely helpful, so today I'm going to show you 5 that I use on a regular basis in no particular order. And let me preface this video by saying I have an iPhone, so all the apps I go directly to Apple's App Store, and that's where I pull them from. It may be different for Androids. This one is called Measure. As you can see, once you open the app, there's a round circle with a dot in the middle. You just aim that dot wherever you want, wherever your starting point is, and you hit that plus button that's down in the middle. Hold that down and walk the line until you get to your stopping point, as you see there. Once you let off, it shows you the line that you measured and it gives you the measurement itself. So that's 24 feet, 9 inches. The great thing about this, you can turn your phone away as you see here, and then when you turn back, it still has that line there, so you can look at it from different angles, and it's going to remember where you measured, and it's going to show it to you no matter where you're standing. That white flash that you just saw, I hit that button at the bottom right and took a picture of that first measurement that I took. So now I lined my dot up with the end of that measurement, and I pulled off of that. So now I go here and I let off, and as you'll see there, now it connects these two lines. I'll do the same thing here. I'm going along the third side of this, and this is just something that I'm randomly measuring to show you what this can do. Stop there, I let off the plus button, then I push back on the plus button once I get that lined up. So now you can see I've completed 4 sides. It connects all 4 of them. And sorry for the angle, I'm gonna have to turn my phone, but I'm turning my phone sideways so that I can get all 4 sides in one picture. So I turn it sideways, take a picture, I get all 4 sides in there, and then after that I go to the top left where you see those 3 lines. I press on that, and now I've got all my measurements with photos, and I hit the copy button down there, as you see. So now I can go over to my notes app. Since I have it copied to my clipboard, I hit paste, boom. So now I have all my measurements with photos for whatever I need. I can email it out. I can reference it for putting a bid together. It's a very easy, intuitive app to use. So play with it and you get the hang of it pretty quickly. Next on the list is Concrete Calculator. A lot of you guys asked about this one. This one when you saw it on my video comparing hand mixing concrete versus having a company deliver it. You can either go to Google and type in Concrete Calculator or go to calculator.net. As you see here, it's real simple. You just plug in length times width times thickness, and then it's going to provide you the calculation of how many cubic yards of concrete that you need. So this is really good for concrete, for hardscape, also for dirt, gravel, anything that's measured in cubic yards is going to show it. So you'll see it's got cubic yards there, cubic meters. Pay attention right there. You'll see that the length is in feet, the width is in feet, thickness is in inches. That's how it defaults when I go to this page. Make sure you check that though. Here, let me change it to feet in case that's what it defaults to for you. So your thickness, if your thickness is in feet and you don't pay attention to that, it's going to show that you need 66 cubic yards in this case, versus what you really need is just 5.5. So you typically want length times width is going to be in feet, and then your thickness is going to be in inches. Maybe you need it in feet depending on what you're going to do. Just make sure. If you want to do like 1.5 feet, you can either do it as 18 inches, or you can also change that to feet, in which case you would put 1.5 feet, and then it's going to give you the same answer. So just make sure that you've got everything entered accurately. So check your measurements, feet versus inches. And for those of you in the rest of the world, this also does metric, not just imperial. And you can do columns, you can do slabs, you can do, as you see here, curb and gutter. If you're going to pour some concrete stairs, it does that as well. Okay, this next app is all about safety, and everybody should have it, whether you're a company or maybe you're a homeowner digging new fence posts or you're digging footings for a deck. If you're digging at all, you should have this app. So in California, it's called Dig Alert. Wherever you are, just find out whoever the organization is that locates your utilities. This is a free service, and this is your first line of defense for averting disaster. You don't want to hit a gas line, for instance, and blow the neighborhood up. Let me toggle back to the top where it says color codes there. That's what I was just showing. You need to be aware of those, but this is a great reference for that. So here you can go, you can log in, and if you're going to dig for anything, you can put in what's called a ticket, let them know the address, and they're going to ask you to mark off the area in white paint. They'll then send out all the different utility companies to mark off any lines that they have running underground, if any. So that way when you dig, you can avoid hitting gas lines, sewer lines, electricity, etc. As you'll see here, they have frequently asked questions sections, pretty self-explanatory. Once you put in your ticket, you can go back and you can check the status of it to make sure all the utilities have been out to mark everything, or if you need to make any changes to your ticket. Maybe you decide you want to make that fence 20 feet longer, this is where you can make those changes. Again, if you're doing anything that requires any digging, make sure you have this app and use it. All right, next up is Tapulator. Where this app is really going to shine is anytime you're going to have a lot of measurements that you need to calculate that are going to have fractions in them. This is a great one for finished carpentry, for example. So let's start off with this first one. Let's take 12 feet, for instance. So we type in 12, and at the top left, you see feet. We'll press that. Next, let's type in 6, and then you see the XY down toward the bottom. You click on that, and we'll just say 3/16. Toggle there, and then you hit the inch up at the top. Plus, and then let's do 19. We're going to hit feet, then 2, and let's do 1/8 inch. Plus, and then you continue. And look, as I explain it, I know this seems really tedious just to add up a couple of numbers and not have to figure out the fractions. But where this really shines is, say like you're walking through a house and you need to know how much base molding you need. So for every wall you walk down, you can measure it and you can add this in, and at the end you come up with the total number, and you also have broken out by wall or by run the exact measurement of everything that you need. So once you add everything up, now you can see here on this screen, it's got 59 feet, 7 and 15/16 of an inch. So when I go to buy the molding, I'm going to add maybe 10 or 15% more than I need for cuts and waste. And then I also have all of my measurements broken out. So when I tapped on that gray section right there, you see it goes back and forth. It's got all my measurements entered, and then it's got feet, inches, centimeters, and then I can swipe left, and then it's got all of my measurements added up. So I've got the total number that I need, as well as everything broken out. I'm doing a piss poor job of explaining this one, but if you're doing something like finished carpentry, trust me, you'll really like this. Last but certainly not least is a markup function on your camera, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I just go into camera, I pick a photograph. Here you see my utility bar pop up at the bottom. So click on the pencil, I'm going to choose red. Now I'm going to mark up this picture that I want to send to my contractor because I want to redo the driveway. So here I choose the pen tip that I want, and what I do is I start drawing an area around this driveway apron that I want to replace with brick, and I want to let them know that. So let me show you one thing. So you can either just freehand it, or let me erase these. If I draw a line and hold it for a couple of seconds, it automatically straightens it out. Now, most of the time when you're just trying to show somebody something, you want to mark something off to give them a good idea of it, you don't necessarily need to have perfectly straight lines, but in case you do, and it's just a feature to be aware of. So anyway, so I mark out this entire section of what I want to do. Now I want to replace this with brick, so I exit out. Now I can choose that plus box down there, and I can choose the text option. So here let's change the color to white so that you can see it better. Just using my finger, I can move this, put it down here. Now I can edit this. So I just click on that. These are all I'm just touching these with my finger. Every time a box comes up, I touch it with my finger, and then it allows me to do all these things. So now I can type this in there to remove and replace the driveway apron with brick. And again, I know it's pretty self-explanatory, but I really want to make sure he knows what I'm talking about. So I check that plus button at the bottom, throws up an arrow. So I put this arrow, I point it there so he sees exactly what I'm talking about. And then I click on the arrow again, and I change the color to white. So now he knows exactly what I'm talking about. I want to replace it. Some of you may have picked up on it. I already marked out the license plate on that pickup truck, but just to show you. So I went down there, I chose the box, if you saw there. So now that allows me to put a box over this license plate in case I don't want anybody to see it. And then I can also go and choose the button on the far left there, and I can choose to fill it in. As you saw, there was a solid box that fills it in. Your markup app that comes with your phone is a great app to use when you want to explain something to somebody and you want to show it to them, but you don't have a whole lot of artistic ability. One last cool feature. See that signature option? Well, say like somebody sends you a written document for your signature, but you don't have access to a printer and it's really time sensitive that you get it back to them. You could pull it up in your phone, screenshot it, open the photograph of that screenshot, and use this feature to sign it and get it back to them. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope you found that useful. And if any of you have any construction apps that you would recommend, please drop it below in the comments.